Greetings, peace, and blessings. Welcome to Soul Enlightened Coaching YouTube channel. We have the pleasure of having on our YouTube channel again, Mr. Opukeye Mamua, who is the author of 36 Virtues, a wonderful book which is available on Amazon.com. And this time around, Mr. Opukeye Mamua will be discussing the topic of wealth consciousness. So we do welcome you onto the channel, Mr. Mamua.
Yeah, it's an honor. Thank you very much for bringing me here once more again. It's a great pleasure that I'm here.
Okay. So to start off with, just to hear your perspective, I know you'll be sharing a lot that may be a new perspective on wealth and wealth consciousness, but just to start off, what is wealth? How would you, what would you say wealth is?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, wealth is something everybody longs for, everybody wants, and it's just something that is inevitable as far as you're a human. So wealth, from my own perspective, it has to do with abundance, and when I mean abundance of anything good to our true nature, to our divine self. It's it's not just like some persons must have taken wealth to be, wealth being just financial abundance, but is more than that. So wealth is something that has to do with not just financial abundance, and it encompasses a rich abundance in not just resources but even values in the different aspects of the human life. And sometimes it can even manifest in, of course, like we said, in your finances, also in your emotion, your well-being, your emotional well-being.
Okay.
Then we can also say in terms of your health, you know, having a good health. Wealth can also manifest in that form. It can also come in the form of a strong relationship. When it comes to wealth, a relationship is very, very important. You know. Then it also gives one a sense of a personal fulfillment. When you have wealth, most especially when you have this inner wealth, there is this sense of personal fulfillment where there is this inner satisfaction, and contentment and happiness. That you're living a meaningful and a purposeful life. So it gives you a clear sense of purpose. And I mean a clear sense of purpose. You have this sense of what values and goals that you as a human you want to live with, and also it gives you a sense of direction in life. So wealth is something that it's very vast. Some persons have looked at it only on the surface. When I mean on the surface, at the level of physical possession, how much resources you have in terms of the basic needs, food, cars, houses, and all this, shelter, clothing. So, but if we are to look at it, it's true wealth is beyond that. It is holistic. It covers a wide range, and if one is not balanced in all the aspects of wealth, then we cannot say that the one is truly wealthy. So that is wealth.
Okay,
So much.
interesting. So it's more of a holistic concept, not just strictly financial. So in this with this definition of wealth, what is wealth consciousness then?
Yes, when we say wealth consciousness, we are simply saying you are being conscious of wealth. Simply to say, some persons are even termed it as a prosperity consciousness. You
Hmm.
know, uh, wealth consciousness is a profound awareness and understanding that wealth is beyond a monetary possession. Okay, and like I said, it encompasses health, relationship, and personal fulfillment. So that is what wealth consciousness is. Being conscious of wealth in its different dimensions.
Okay, so you said wealth can take a shape in different forms. So could you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, when I say wealth can take shape in different forms, what I meant is we can classify wealth into basically three classes. And
Okay.
the three classes we can say we have the outer wealth, which is the physical wealth, the things that are around us, those things that are
Mhm,
tangible, to us.
mhm.
The abundance of that, to the individual can also be classified as wealth. So in terms of outer or physical wealth, it could be in the form of resources, possessions, like even your finances and your basic needs. Then even beyond that, at even a more subtle level, we have wealth, to the point of a mental level. Now, when I mean a mental level, I mean one can be intellectually wealthy.
Okay.
That's even more subtle. Like those that are scholars, those that have pursued so much, educational career, that needs a form of intellectual wealth. And then it can also be in form of, at that mental level, it can also be in form of one's emotional well-being, that state of joy, you know. And even far higher than that, if we go further, we can also classify wealth into the level of spiritual wealth. Now, what I mean by spiritual wealth, it has to do with inner values, such that one has this wealth of, we can see the wealth of peace, we can see the wealth of power, we can see the wealth of love, we can also see the wealth of wisdom. These inner treasures, you have them within you. It's like a kingdom inside of you. So when you begin to have that in abundance, you are building spiritual wealth. The spiritual wealth is not something tangible, but you have this sense of this wealth of peace, this wealth of power. You know, that is more of at an energy level.
Okay.
So spiritual level of wealth, it could take the form of even bliss, okay, even bliss, that wealth of happiness, that inner satisfaction. Now, one thing to note is if one has one may be having much of the physical outer wealth, the tangible wealth, but be lacking that of the spiritual, the inner wealth. And if
Okay.
there is that imbalance, there will be that vacuum within the person. So The person may live, a lifetime enjoying the physical, the outer world, but at the end, there will be this emptiness within, which means, there is no abundance within. There is still lack within. So spiritual wealth or the inner treasures is very, very important and key when we talk about wealth holistically.
Okay, so from this perspective, taking into account the different aspects of wealth, so what then would you say is poverty, and how does this come into being?
Yeah, poverty. First, it starts with the mental state. So when we say poverty, poverty simply means lack. When I mean lack, on a more physical level, we say the lack of or financial lack, or resources. But if we come to the subtle level or more deeper, we can now begin to talk about, when one lacks those inner treasures or values, it's also a state of what poverty. So poverty is not just financial lack; it's also it's the privation of one's well-being.
Okay.
So once those inner qualities that as a being you're supposed to cultivate, you also lack them. It means it's also a state of poverty. You know.
Okay. So, how would you say then that wealth consciousness aligns with a spiritual outlook or religious understanding?
Yes, when we say wealth is in alignment with the spiritual outlook or perspective or understanding, we can
Mhm.
begin to look at things like, yes, wealth consciousness emphasizes on values.
Okay.
In fact, what even brings the accumulation of the external physical wealth is the measure of values, that you've cultivated, that you have been able to build within. So you there are, should I say, they are dependent. You know, one gives birth to the other. For instance, if one cultivates the wealth of wisdom, you know,
Mhm.
it becomes very, very easy for one to begin to, acquire outer physical wealth or resources. So the measure of wisdom that you've been able to cultivate within, can give you as much external wealth in terms of possession, resources, okay, and even finances. So, uh, from a spiritual perspective, it emphasizes values.
Mhm.
Also, like we can also look at it from the angle of gratitude.
Okay.
Nowadays you observe that people have this sense of, for you to attract wealth and all that, you should have this sense or attitude of gratitude.
Mhm.
Because when you get things and you are being grateful for them, you are now in the wealth frequency. You know, and for the fact that you are, giving out that frequency, it can begin to even bring more things to you. So
Right.
gratitude
Right.
is in of our inner state, that state of joy and happiness and thankfulness, of
Mhm.
having
Mhm.
got things you've gotten. And if I will cite an example, if someone has two friends, Mr. A and B,
Mhm.
it's just natural that you want to give more to the person that is sincerely grateful, for whatever thing you've been giving to him or her. So the world around us, the universe, also operates that way. When you're being thankful of, everything around, even your life. When you wake up in the morning, you are grateful for life. And even the people around you, your family, your friends. So once you begin to emit that frequency, the universe begins to naturally takes care of you, and begins to release so much abundance to you. So just like someone will want to give more, to someone that is grateful. So it also aligns with that sense of gratitude. And one other thing again is wealth enables us to, that wealth consciousness also enables us to connect with ourselves. When I mean connect with ourselves, you can begin to, know yourself better, who you are. That's within, So, and by so doing, you can even better begin to connect with others. So that is one thing about the wealth consciousness in terms of, a spiritual outlook of it. So it creates a deeper connection to oneself and even to others. So it builds relationship. It's not just all about the material pursuits, so
Mhm.
it's also the sense of purpose.
Mhm. And a greater
So
connection to God as well.
yes,
Mhm.
you can also say that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that has been really informative. What books or websites would you recommend for anyone who may be just learning about this perspective on wealth consciousness and wants to take things a bit further and learn some more? Are there any resources that you would recommend for them?
Yes, for resources, you've already mentioned one, like, one aspect of wealth is the wealth of virtues, you know,
Okay.
and you talked about the 36 virtues, being authored by me. That is also a good starting point as a book that you want to read and, try to practice the virtues. There are practical lessons and stories out there that you can read and get the understanding and see how, you apply them practically to your daily living. So that's also a starting point. And we also have some other books, like, I know most persons have come across the Think and Grow Rich, by Napoleon
Okay.
Hill. But I do say that yes, it says Think and Grow Rich, but if the person reads the book and choose not to think, then you don't think, so you won't grow rich. So uh, one thing is to get hold of the book, go through it, and put into practice, some of the ideas, the concepts that the book has taught. That's also a
Okay.
good one. Then we also have The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That's also another book to read. Sometimes when we say the power of now, being at the present moment, being mindful. Sometimes we can observe that most people in life, they are living in this poverty mindset. How?
Mhm.
Because they have always take their mind to the past. When you go to your memories and you begin to look at your past, when you begin to see the lack, of material resources, finances in your past, you are in a poor mindset, and that can as well begin to impact your state of wealth consciousness. So Wealth consciousness is all about being in the now and seeing yourself as being wealthy. So it's very important that one keeps one's consciousness or awareness in the now in such a way that one is conscious of wealth. And of course, indeed, there is wealth all around us. Nature also, illustrates that. You see abundance all around you. You know, if you look at the earth, for instance, the plants are in abundance. The air we breathe is in abundance. So is it the sunlight? The sunlight is in abundance. Okay, so the universe is an energy of abundance, but most people don't see these things. So it just left for one to have this, have this sense of consciousness of there's always abundance and wealth around. Some people feel, someday uh, the world maybe can become impoverished, but that is not true. The world is in such a way that the world keeps supplying more and more. For instance, I'll give an example. If you have a room and you try to empty the air in the room, you observe that just within some split seconds, you see air rushing in. So the universe knows no lack, so it's full of abundance. So there wouldn't be a time when the resources in the world will get finished or will become totally depleted. No, the universe keeps refilling itself on and on and on and on. So that is that.
Okay. So there's abundance all around us, which is good news. And just finally, you've really said a lot of things that are encouraging and just have given us food for thought. What takeaway message would you excuse me, what takeaway message would you have for those watching this video? What main points would you like to stress and highlight in what you've said so far?
Yes, one thing is I will say that for our listeners, they should, embrace holistic view of wealth. When I mean holistic view of wealth, they should understand that wealth encompasses not just the physical possession of things, it is that and beyond. So they should, work on cultivating, building wealth on all dimensions of it. That's in and out. In fact, key is even building the inner wealth. Because for you to be able to attract and have so much of the outer, you need to have an equivalent measure of the inner wealth.
Mhm.
For instance, the wealth of wisdom. The more you develop that inner wisdom in you, you can begin to use that to build or cultivate the outer wealth or abundance for yourself. So that's also it. But in all, while doing that, it is also good to prioritize your well-being, in all aspects of your life. It is very, very important. There is saying that health is wealth. In fact, I can say health is the first wealth. So you don't go after or pursue the outer or the material wealth around you and deprive or lack, inner well-being. So one should be mindful of one's well-being, in all aspects of life. And one more thing is the listeners out there should work towards cultivating a wealthy mindset. The mindset is very, very important when it comes to building wealth. What you think about wealth. Some people even think in terms of wealth as being evil. When you think something is evil, how can you attract that? How can that come close to you? You're already sending a repulsive energy out to the universe. So when you begin to think in terms of wealth as evil, such thoughts are not wealth consciousness. So wealth is not evil. The universe is made of wealth and abundance. So that's one thing that the listeners out there should also take note. Cultivate a wealthy mindset that attracts abundance. Appreciate what you have, while you strive for more. And another thing again is I will also encourage some of our listeners to, enroll with Soul Executive Coaching. You can always drop the website for them to go there and visit, because the website will be packed with lots of information on wealth, building wealth, and even some of the laws governing how to build wealth. For instance, I'm going to mention three. One of the laws is the law of giving. The law of giving is very, very important. If you know how to use that law, you can receive more from the universe. So we also have the law of multiplication. That's also another law. How to multiply and create wealth. That's also another important law that when you use it, when you consciously use it, you will build more wealth. And lastly, the law of mentalism. When I say the law of mentalism, it has to do with our consciousness. This is a law that applies to virtually everything. For you to, get anything physically, you must get it mentally. So that is why nowadays you see people practicing things like visualization and all that. You have somebody that you want to attract to yourself as a loved one, as a love partner. You begin to create that image, that mental image in your mind. People begin to practice such things, but there are certain principles, that one has to know in practicing such things. Otherwise, you begin to wonder if such things actually work. You keep visualizing again and again, and nothing is happening. So, the law of mentalism is very important. We can see that in the world today, that virtually almost everything that has been created by humans has come from the human mind. The human mind is the greatest gift that mankind has. So some people don't even know it, and how much more how to use it. So some schools of thought as put that as above, so below. When you say as above, what's the meaning of above? It just has to do with the mind. The above is the mind. The higher plane is the mind. Then so below, what's below? Yes, the earth, the physical. So first, it has to be above. What you do above, reflects below. So as above, so below. So what you are doing mentally above, comes out on the surface, comes out below. So people should, tend to know some of these laws, these principles, and use them to build abundance for themselves and for those around them. So I'll stop there for now.
Okay, well, we've appreciated all that you said so far. And you mentioned the Soul Executive website. That's soulexecutives.com, soulexecutives.com. We have our Soul Executive Coaching Facebook page, YouTube channel. We're on LinkedIn. So please feel free to join us, whatever social media avenue that you subscribe to. And of course, here, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share with your network. So we hope you've enjoyed the video, and we look forward to more from Soul and also from Opukeye Mamua. Once again, his book, 36 Virtues, is on Amazon.com or other Amazon websites in other countries as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Stay
Yeah,
blessed.
thank you. It's a pleasure.
Okay. And to our listeners and viewers, we thank you as well. So you have a beautiful day.